Hello, BookTube. This is Alan here for Friday Reads and the Book Haul. The I'll try to make this under 30 minutes. Hopefully, we'll see how it goes. Uh, this week they implemented the curfew, and because of the curfew, the buses stopped running at 7 p.m. Uh, Tuesday and Wednesday, I had to, uh, as you may have known, I don't have a car, so I have to rely on public transportation, the bus and the train. And so I worked over until 10 p.m. on Tuesday and Wednesday. And so I had to call my brother who was on vacation for him to come pick me up. There was a guy who worked overnight, came in at 10, left at 6, but he came in at 5 Tuesday and 5 Wednesday because he couldn't find any other way to get to work. And so it caused a lot of problems for a lot of people. So anyway, I'll go back to what I'm reading. Excuse me for a moment, I had to get my book. I currently am reading Blindness by Henry Green, introduction by Daniel Mendelsohn. This is a New York Review of Books. Let's see. Henry Green was the pen name of Henry Vincent York, born near Tewkesbury in Gloucestershire, England. He was educated at Eton and Oxford, went on to become the managing director of his family's engineering business, writing novels in his spare time. First novel, Blindness, was written while he was at Oxford. And Blindness is about a story of John Hay, who's a young student with literary airs, and starts with an excerpt from his diary, but brimming with excitement and affection and curiosity about life and literature. Then a freak accident robs John of his sight, plunges him into despair, and he's forced to live with his high-handed, horsey stepmother in the country. So he begins a weird dalliance with a girl named Joan, leading to a new determination. So yeah, it does. You see, it has the diary here, and then all of a sudden, it just goes into. There's a little letter here about John Hay's accident he had, and the accident was caused by a boy throwing a rock at a train, and John Hay was looking outside the window at the time. Well, he was in the train, but he was looking outside, so and through the window. So yeah, and it starts again. And it's really good and quite enjoyable. So it's a New York Review of Books. The next book I'm reading, I got an ebook, and it's a story of Amish in Pennsylvania, and they have what they call the mark. They get it from Genesis, where Cain slew Abel, and and Cain said, this is too great for me. Somebody who finds me will kill me, and so God put a mark on Cain. So the Amish take that to mean that whoever becomes a vampire has the mark. And the story takes place in Amish family, where the 4-year-old, the mother is a vampire. The 4-year-old just receives the mark because she was seen eating a cow. Yeah, and the daughter Hadassah, the oldest daughter, she has the mark, but she doesn't tell anybody. And so there's a lot of suspense involved, and there's some sort of bland moments, like, so it doesn't continue with Hadassah's yearning, and then all of a sudden it just shows up, again because she has gone to Chicago because they think their brother, who is her older brother, who ran away from the Amish community, is to come back and creating this havoc going on with people's throats being slashed and blood being drained. So the detectives is there and they know it's okay. It's pretty good so far. I did get a book haul and I'm going to show you two of the books that I received. This is Roberto Eco's Foucault Pendulum. I guess that's how you pronounce it. Foucault Pendulum. This is Roberto Eco. This is my first Roberto Eco book. I'm waiting for Jason at Byways of Bookland to start his read along with this book. And I love the cover of this with the different colors, with red and the gold trim, and the images in the background. Very good. And this one is, it says it's by Mariner, but that's probably the paperback rights to this. And I was reading a little bit about this, a little bit last night. It's pretty interesting. It was in English translation 1989, but this translation was 2007. So yeah, it's just floppy paperback. So let me get into this. Also, I purchased this book called Shadow of the Wind. I've been hearing something about this. It's by Spanish author Carlos Ruiz Zafón, and I've heard a lot about this because let me give you read the back of it for you. Barcelona, 1945. A city slowly heals from its war wounds, and Daniel, an aquarium book dealer's son who mourns the loss of his mother, finds solace in a mysterious book entitled The Shadow of the Wind by Juan Julian Horax. But when he sets out to find the author's other works, he makes a shocking discovery. Someone has been systematically destroying every copy of the book Horax has written. In fact, Daniel may have the last of Horax's books in existence. So Daniel seemingly ends the quest, opens the door into one of Barcelona's deepest secrets, epic story of murder, madness, and doomed love. So this paperback is by Penguin. And came out in 2005. So I think this is a part of a trilogy, 486 pages. Yeah, I think it's part of a trilogy because, yeah, and I believe it is. The problem I have with the book, it has a blurb by Stephen King. The last two books I've read that had a blurb by Stephen King, I didn't care. So maybe this will be different. I had forgot to show last Friday reads 2 CDs that I bought at the Half Price Bookstore. The first one is Simon & Garfunkel. This is their Sound of Silence. And I've been listening this morning to Simon & Garfunkel in their concert at Central Park. They did it. And yeah, this one has I Am the Rock and The Sound of Silence, which I really like. I'm not sure about the other tracks on here. I'll listen to them. Then I got this one, John Michael Talbot. John Michael Talbot is back in the 70s. He was part of the Jesus movement, the One Way Jesus movement with his brother. He has since gone on a solo trip, and he's in a monastery up in Arkansas. I can't think of what it is. It might be an Augustinian. I believe. But this is his 34 songs for silence, solitude, and meditation. I had the LP for this, and I had no idea what I did with it. So, yes, you have the Psalms of the Old Testament, Mary, you have Christ Jesus, and the church. And each one of these songs is incredible. So it's good for meditation. Come to the quiet, the Lord's my shepherd. Come worship the Lord. Holy is his name. And a lot of others in here. So very pleased to get this. When I first bought this at the Half Price Bookstore, the disc, both discs, there were 2 discs in here. And both discs were kind of scratched up. And so I looked on YouTube, see what to do about scratched up discs. And they said to put toothpaste on, not the beaded kind, but regular toothpaste, on the disc, and then go around, starting in the center, and go towards the outside. And then you just wipe it off with a cloth, and it was fine. So I tried that, and I actually used a cotton ball, and got the cotton ball wet, and put toothpaste on it, on the cotton ball, and just went around in a circle on the disc, starting from the inside to the outside, and wiped it off with the cloth, and it worked perfectly. Well, that's it. So this is under 16 minutes. I can't believe it. Must be doing something wrong. Well, thank you very much, BookTube, and have a good weekend.